Hi guys, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery, and I'm located in Van.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Highland Heights, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
Record to.
Hello.
There we go. Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
I've been clearing my throat a lot. Hopefully that doesn't continue on.
Yeah. You gotta get some
Let
Mucinex
me
or
clear
something.
my throat.
Let me clear my throat. Dun, 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 dun.
I think that's a
Uh,
different song.
I don't know it. I know it, but I don't. Anyway, um, yeah. So I'm in Colorado.
Yeah, you had
Yeah.
your whole road trip. How did that go?
I'm tired.
2 days?
Yeah. It was 2 days, 18 hours, I think. Um, I left your house and then went through Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, and then stopped in
All on the
Kansas.
first day? Wow.
Yeah.
You got all the way
And
to
then
Kansas.
yeah, I got to like Topeka too. So, which is like more mid. Got to like mid-ish Kansas, probably mid-east, and stayed at a rest stop there. It was like this great rest stop. And then um had an easy morning the next morning and then drove to my parents' house and got there at like 7. But I think I was in Central Time when I started and I got there in Mountain Time. So, yeah. And I left at like
I mean, you
11
don't have as
maybe.
many, you don't have but one or two states to go through to get from Kansas to Colorado, or they're connected.
It's just Kansas and Colorado. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the eastern part of Colorado is extremely expansive. It's very large, and so is the western part of Kansas. So it's like basically you drive through nothing. And then like Kansas, I think we've talked about this. Kansas has pretty good roads, and then when you get to Colorado, it's like garbage. So, but they did actually fix the first mile when you get into Colorado after
Oh, the
Kansas.
first mile, huh?
Yeah, or like first like 3 miles or something. And then after that it's garbage. So, um, yeah, but it was
Well,
good.
they probably use I mean, I just know Colorado for the Rocky Mountains, but I suspect it's not all mountains all the way that far east. Is that accurate?
No, it's all prairie.
Okay, so it's prairie until you get closer to Denver and then it starts.
Yeah, it's prairie
Okay.
and plains. It's very similar to Kansas, like you
Yeah.
know, it's the same. So,
Probably need all the road work for all the mountainous areas, I suspect.
yeah, probably. So, but it's I-70. It's not like a small freeway, Like it literally goes like you're on one freeway from Indianapolis to Colorado. That is it. There is no moving. Like, yeah, through like Topeka, you're on like 470 and then you get onto 70 again. It's like
Yeah, just straight
it.
east.
Yeah, so
Or straight west, sorry, not east.
straight west. But yeah, it's definitely a boring drive. I hate that drive actually. I was telling my brother how much I hate this drive because first of all, it's fine the first time you do it, and then the next time you do it, you're like, okay, and then the 12th time you've done it, it's like here we go again.
I mean, have you taken other drives from, I feel like you always go through Denver, but have you taken a drive like north to go toward like Indianapolis? Or, I mean, it wouldn't make sense to go south, but unless you're going to like Texas for some reason.
I've done the southern drive and I've done the northern drive. They're all terrible. They're all bad. It's all the same. It's all like nothing.
I
Uh,
suspect all the middle states are pretty boring, like the Dakotas and Nebraska and Kansas. And
yeah, like the actual cities are beautiful. Like they're gorgeous. But then once you like get out of the city, you're like, okay, cool, grass. Grass, 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 grass. Maybe a pond, some more grass. Um, but it's not even that the scenery is bad in Kansas, is that you are fighting winds the entire time, no matter what.
Mm. And you're in
Like,
just a huge box, so I bet you feel it all.
well, and it's like, thankfully, when you're driving that way, you're going head on with the winds. Like, the winds are so bad in Kansas that at most of their rest stops, the garbage cans are on swivels.
Really? Swivels?
Yes. Like, they swing. Yeah.
Oh,
They're off the ground,
oh,
so they can't get blown away.
oh, okay. Hmm.
So, so like my mileage is garbage going through Kansas. It's like, I don't know, like I was going 75 miles an hour, which is exactly the speed limit. I maybe went 76 and I had like 14 miles to the gallon. And I get normally 18, like 17 and a half to 18.
Hmm.
So towards the end of it, I was like, screw this, I'm going 72. And I gained some mileage, but yeah.
Dang.
But yeah, I found a good rest stop, got a hand pie, fried pie. That's my favorite part of going through that Kansas area is there's a rest stop with fried pies. Delicious.
I saw that. That looked
And
good. What flavor was it?
blackberry.
Hmm. I bet they had
And
a pretty good assortment there.
yeah, delicious. And one time when I was going towards Danny's house, I stopped and got six of them and we split them all.
Damn.
Yeah, they have like frozen ones, so I stopped and got six different flavors and then we put them in the oven and split them. Oh, so good. Um, yeah. Oh, and then, are you ready for my funny story of the day?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. Well, Ryan kind of knows this, but my van is about to expire in warranty. Okay, so I took my van to the place by your house, two-star rating, by the way. That that
Your
dealership.
personal rating?
No, 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 no. I think that the dealership gets a two-star rating, but there's like one guy that services all the Pro Masters. So I think I have a little bit of a like there's like 45 Pro Masters in their parking lot. You know, like he's clearly the guy. Like he's got to
Hmm.
know what he's doing. And so anyway, they couldn't figure out what was wrong with my sat nav, my navigation. And because it's been blinking blue when I back up, and it's also been like discolored and stuff. And I'm like, well, I got to get this fixed before the warranty expires because rough. And so they reset it at like near your house, and then I started driving, and and when I was backing up, it like blinked blue again, and I was like, God damn it. And um and I did the calculations and I got to my parents' house. The van's warranty ends at 36,000 miles, and I got to my parents' house at 35,920 miles.
Oh my gosh. It's like I'm not making any extra errands. I cannot take the van. I have to go right to the dealership.
I almost considered not going to Taco John's on my way home and going like the faster way home
Wow.
would have saved me 2 miles. But so I called the dealership nearish my parents' house, and took it there this morning at 7:30, and they have it, and they said they couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. And so they're gonna keep it overnight. And I did not plan for them to keep it overnight.
Right.
So
I mean,
all my
it's your living
clothes,
space. Everything's
all
there.
my stuff, the cats like special medicine for their food. Um, everything is in Longmont, 20 miles. And it'd be one thing if it was like 5 miles away, but it's like 20, like everything's far away here. So
Hmm.
yeah, like if it was the distance between your house and the dealership,
Oh, yeah. 5 miles.
it's like
Nothing.
5 minutes, nothing. Yeah, but it's a little bit farther for here. So I mean, like I could have gone and like gotten some stuff, but it just would have been a pain. So yep,
Dang. That's
yeah,
why dad's always like, I don't want all those fancy gadgets, just more stuff that can go wrong. M-
100%. I
More
agree. If they
money
would
and
have,
all that stuff. But you got the warranty, so hope does that mean it's like fully covered, or is it going to be like, oh, well, there's an exception and like it covers this much of the deposit, but not like all of it?
I'm pretty sure it covers all of it.
That's good.
And because I've gotten it in before the warranty, there's a chance that if something happens in like the next couple weeks and I take it in, there's a chance they'll cover it again
Mm,
because it's an ongoing issue.
yeah.
So, yeah, my dad was like, maybe you should consider getting extended warranty, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know.
I mean, the backup camera stuff, is it completely non-functional or is it, I mean, you can't see out the back. I mean, you have to have it.
I don't have to have it. I can see.
But
I got review
there's no way.
mirrors.
That's true.
I
But
mean,
is it the like straight
I got
behind you that doesn't work that well?
side view mirrors, and then the backup camera doesn't work sometimes. It like flashes blue and it cuts out. Um,
Damn.
but yeah, and the like the regular sat nav is fine. It's just like discolored. I don't think anything's wrong with it. I don't know, but it did get really hot while I was driving. Like it overheated. So,
The navigation stuff?
yeah, it like got so hot that they had to turn off the screen.
Damn.
So, I forgot to tell him that. I
Hopefully
told
it
him
wasn't anything when you were insulating or like cutting the hole in the back. I would guess you're
no,
not that close to the wiring and stuff in there.
no, it's none of that. It's just it's I don't know what it is, but it's none of that. It might be a loose wire somewhere, but I
Yeah.
didn't touch
Good
any
luck finding where
wires.
the wires are.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did tell him I thought it might be a loose wire. So, we'll see what happens. But regardless, I think we should probably go over there and get some clothes tomorrow if they're going to keep it for more than a day. Uh, so, and then my mom was like, "So Becca, are you gonna sleep on the couch tonight?" And I was like, no, I was gonna sleep." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck yeah, yeah, I guess I'll sleep on the
Man, you
couch."
got the air mattress, the couch, and I don't know, pitch a tent outside. You're like, can I
Yeah,
sleep in the hot tub?
yeah, right. Betsy was like, "Do you want to sleep on the couch downstairs that's covered in dog hair?" And I was like, "Not really."
It'll be warm for you.
And my parents' couches are so uncomfortable. Like they're like,
Worse than our couches?
yeah.
Really?
I mean, your couches are comfortable. They're like these are those ones that are like the leather ones that they recline, and so like laying sideways on them is always weird,
Yeah,
you know?
because they're
So,
so like bumped up that it just
yeah.
you can't really be flat on those
Yeah,
unless you're
they're just
reclining.
not they're comfortable. They're just not sleeping couches, you know?
Right.
So, what are you gonna do? So, yeah, my mom was like, "You can have the air mattress." I was like, "No,
Not the air
no,
mattress.
not the air mattress." If you're wondering, yes, my parents did build a house with only one guest bed and three children. Um, it's a problem,
But one of them has their own completely different space that's
and which is
already
good.
taken care of.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it really just affects you and your brother and you both happen to be there. So you got to figure it out.
yeah. We're not here all the time at the same time. It is a special treat for all of us to be home together. So,
Yeah.
all right, what's up with you?
We just got done cleaning some of the garage. It's cleaning time.
I saw a picture. It looks so good.
Yeah, so we're gonna move. We started doing some of the cleaning in the back room for the storage area about 2 weeks ago, and then we're gonna actually move one of those shelving units out to the garage and get a little more room back there in the basement, and then we're gonna move the shipping area, which is always right behind me, back there. And yeah, it's kind of nice. I'm like, yeah, let's just pick some days, and I've only got one more work day for the rest of the year, so
Ooh,
I'll be there tomorrow, and
nice.
then I took off because the way Christmas falls right in the middle of the week, it's kind of odd. So I was like, I'll just take the whole week off. It's fine. And then we're going out of town for New Year's, so that also falls kind of on a weird day. So I won't be back again until January 2nd, back to work. So we'll see what we get up to, but hopefully a lot more cleaning. We got some things to do around the house, and
Where are you going for New Year's?
we're going to a bunkie like a tiny house kind of cabin in Illinois. It's like in the middle of nowhere, Illinois. Can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of by St. Louis, maybe. Not that far from St. Louis. I think it's Maconda, Illinois. Pretty far south.
Nice. Nice.
It's actually not that far from Evansville, where my brother lives.
Nice.
So, yeah, we'll go there. Yeah, we did a New Year's party last year. We had friends here that we just saw, and they were like, "Are you doing your New Year's party again?" Rachel was like, "No, that was kind of a one-time thing. We were trying it out, but we host a couple other tiki parties throughout the year, so I think we'll kind of
Like, that's
take a
enough.
take a break from that." But yeah, so we'll do that. We used to travel more for New Year's and kind of just dedicate that to because we don't really gift ourselves any each other anything for Christmas.
Right.
So we tend to use New Year's as kind of our like Christmas gift of like going somewhere for a
Yeah.
weekend or a few days.
Oh, I want to show
So
you what my
that's the
brother.
plan.
Oh no. Oh, my brother got me a Leatherman for Christmas. It's very,
Leatherman.
yeah, like the pliers. I'll send you a link to it. And it's so cool. It's like such a cool color. That's why I wanted to show you the color.
Leatherman.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
they look
color.
pretty fancy. Is it
They
like
are
a
fancy.
teal?
Yeah, it's the teal and red one. The Skeletal CX.
That's pretty cool.
Did you find it?
I think I found it. Leatherman Signal Outdoor Multi-Tool in Aqua.
No.
Is it a
Does
multi-tool?
does it have blue and red?
I mean, it looks aqua. It's kind of a blue-green. It's got
Okay,
some
I'm
red
sending
on
you
it
the
too.
link on the chat. Yeah. Or pink, I guess. It's actually orange, but it's hard to tell on the screen.
Yeah, that's pretty similar to the one I saw.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm very excited. I've been looking at those as like one of those, ooh, if I had an extra $100, I might buy one.
I like the green and blue navy one. That one's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's nice.
Or the navy and light blue is kind of cool too. I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes you get some of those, or I've got some of those just Christmas presents and stuff like that. I feel like I don't use them. Like I don't know. I feel like for you, you could probably just throw that up in the dash or put it in the side door, and it would be
Yeah.
useful. But
Yeah. I think that that's like, there's so many times right now in my life that I'm like, God damn it, I have to go find pliers, like,
yeah, where
and
you just need them for a simple job.
yeah, and I always use my jewelry pliers, and sometimes I don't really want to
Hmm.
because they're really nice, um and this is really nice too, but also it has like a little screwdriver in it, and it's just like sometimes you need something small like that, and to also have a knife so I can open up packages and stuff and like cut down boxes and stuff. I don't have like a pocket knife anymore. I don't know where my pocket knives went, but having something just a little bit smaller that you could throw in your pocket and it has a clip on it is nice. So I feel like I'm finally at the point in my life where I can have a Leatherman.
Definitely want to have some use for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks nice.
I've already used it today.
Sweet. I mean,
Um,
I think that would be good to probably have for taking to shows and stuff to just have
yeah,
access to something if you need to like clip a zip tie or whatever.
exactly.
Hammer. I think I had one kind of like that I used to hammer the stakes in the ground at
Yeah.
shows. So that's where I do use something like that, but
Yeah,
that's
and
about
like
it.
I've had Leathermans that had like 45,000 tools on them, and those are just not useful to me. It's like at this point in my life, I'm like, no, the 7 tool one that's like got a knife and some bits, it's good enough for me, So That's nice. And I actually have a bunch of bits from a Leatherman that my mom gave me a long, long time ago. And I I don't know how, but I like lost the Leatherman. I looked so much for it and never found it. I think somebody might have stolen it because it was at the studio, um, like the public studio. So
Oh,
I've
I
been
see. So the bits are actually swappable. It looks like it stores the
yeah,
bit on one side and you can like take it out and swap out the actual.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And the bits are skinny. They're not like regular bits and they're reversible too. So they have like one side that's one side like one size and then the next side is a different size. So, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. So, we don't normally do presents in my family. That's not like a thing for us. Kind of like you guys, it's just like whatever. But this year, like everybody got everybody presents, which is like not normal. So, and
Yeah.
James was like, haven't gotten your presents yet. Like, what do you want? I was like, and a pocket knife would be good because my brother's like the fisherman hunter,
Hmm.
big bushy beard guy. So, you know, that
Yeah,
it's
he probably
not
knows the quality stuff to get or something that's like, okay, this is why you
right.
want this one and not that one kind of thing.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, and that has a this and this and this blade, blah 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 blah." And like not only does he know that stuff, but I think that he enjoys giving those type of gifts as opposed to something else, you know?
Yeah.
So, not a surprise, but very much appreciated and very excited. So,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
other than that, nothing else new. I did a show yesterday, my last show of the year. Farmers market up the street. Sales
Oh
were
yeah.
they were about $600, so it was a little less than
Oh
I thought,
God.
but
So sad for a farmer's market being $600. I'm just giving you a hard time. How much does the farmer's market cost?
I think it was like 35 maybe.
Nice.
I don't think it was 25. Yeah, I think it was 35 because they have like the regular farmers vendors that are there every week. This is a one-time holiday market that they do 3 weeks right
Oh, nice.
before Christmas. So they have other like
Oh, okay.
artists
So
and
this is like a
vendors.
special farmer's market. Yeah.
Yeah, where a lot of things are out of seasons for a number of farmers, so they don't participate, and then that leaves room for artisans to be there.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of like there was somebody selling like apparel across from me, and there was some metal work stuff, and somebody else had some candles, and so it's kind of a variety. I think they pretty much try to only have one potter there each week because
And
typically you
you're
sign up.
it.
Yeah, you sign up and then they're like, "Hey, we have 3 weeks, but we're only going to give you one of the weeks."
Nice. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, but not too bad. Pretty easy. It was just right up the street, 3 to 7 on a Wednesday, and yeah, back home at a reasonable time. So, and I was inside, no issues with no more outdoor shows. So that was pretty nice. But yeah, all done
Yeah.
with the shows.
Oh, how am I jealous?
I was kind of bummed because I feel like there weren't that many. I don't know about you. Look, I don't like when you were looking at shows a lot. I feel like there's not a lot of options in December.
There aren't. No, they always like are November and then it's like kaputs.
Yeah, I mean, they're usually the first week of December. There's a few to pick from, but not too much. Once you get 2 weeks into December, like they're not organizing shows at that point. Or if they are, it's not usually one that's super profitable.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, so that's where we're at. Just doing a lot of Etsy online stuff, which has been very busy. Very thankful for that.
Yeah, that's good.
Rachel's been a
Yeah.
huge help right now with getting those packed and shipped and walked.
Yeah. I've been there when the packing is going on and I wouldn't be that nice to you. I know she's getting paid, but I still wouldn't.
today because she a lot of times she'll do it while I'm working,
Yeah.
and she's like fiddling around or like playing with the cats. I'm like I know you don't want to be doing this, but wouldn't it be better to like just focus on it for like 10 minutes and just get it done than to
No.
like fiddle around and take like 30 or 40 minutes to get something done that shouldn't take that long?
Nope.
But
Nope.
that's not how everybody works.
Nope. We were actually talking about that in the car, how um me and Rachel were talking about how like I'm good with money, you're good with money, but I don't care about money. So like my life looks so much different. And then like also like working and like the back how our backgrounds have been different and everything like that. And and she was like, "Yeah, but he'll like work, work, work." And she's like, "You're like me. We'll burn out on something, and we don't want like we like to take breaks and we like to do things, you know." And you're just like a work, 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 work.
Hmm.
You're that type of personality, and we're just not that type of personality, and that's why you like us.
Yeah. I'm just like there's always more to be done. Kind of like I was talking to her about the like obviously we're packing a bunch of boxes. It's all the same boxes for the most part for a lot of these things. And I'm like, why don't you just stamp all of these boxes? Because if you don't stamp them now, you're gonna have to stamp them the next time you pack it. Like, why not just
Yeah,
batch it so you save yourself time when you're about to do it, so it's even faster when you have to do it? And she's like, no,
yeah.
I'm not gonna like spend any extra time doing something that's not necessary to do right now, even though I'll be happier in the future when I need it. That's kind of where I'm like, I don't want to write on my thank you notes right when the order comes in. I'm like, that's just how I work. I'm like, there's always something to be done, always something to be taken upstairs when it's like sitting here. Like, I don't know. That's just how I like to do stuff. But
Yep. And that's why the world turns, because there's
yep,
different people, different folks for
yep,
different strokes.
yep, something like that.
Different folks with different strokes. Different strokes for different folks.
Different strokes for different folks, I think is generally how it's said.
Whatever. Um, guess what, guys? It's the end of the year,
Yep.
and we are gonna talk about the year.
The year that we just had and the year ahead and maybe some things we're looking forward to.
Yeah. I
But
feel
first,
like
should we answer
normally
this
we,
listener question first? This other one.
uh, if we must.
If we must. All right, this is an easy one. It's from our friend Janet at
Janet!
jello
Jello!
dot designs. All right.
Jello!
She wants to know
Jello! Jello! Jello!
Jello wants to know, is there an advantage to putting kiln wash on advancer shelves?
Sure. It depends on what you want.
Yeah, I would say mostly it's the clay body that that they would like Kurt puts it on there because he has porcelain and it'll pluck because the kiln shelves will the pots will stick to it a little bit, so you could pull your pot off and it could have a little chunk of clay stuck to it.
Yeah.
That's one
And
reason.
like, yeah, you can put, I mean, like, I think it won't hurt for sure. You wouldn't want to put like a thick coat on, and you do have to grind it off. So,
It is easier to get it off though. I
yeah.
suspect because it's absorption, I don't think it would stick to it as well. So you can just use a sanding disc, like on
Yeah.
we've used a sanding disc on an angle grinder. So you just put it on there and you just scrape it right off with that disc.
Yeah.
I don't know if you just had a block with the sanding thing, if that would do enough, but
Cone 10, I would assume that cone 10 would be an advantage, definitely um to do uh can wash. I think that it's just like kind of like an extra, it's just like a it's just like a little extra padding, you know?
hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we generally use alumina hydrate with our
Yep.
shelves though. Becca's mentioned it a number of times, but putting the dusting of alumina on there, it's not it's not enough that when you wipe it on there and you turn your shelf up on the end, it's just gonna all fall off onto the ground. It's like
Right.
less than that. Like if we're
Yeah.
talking, I think for my full shelf, I probably put, if we're doing measurements, probably 2 tablespoons on the whole shelf.
Yeah. Maybe
And
even less.
I can spread all of that onto a 21-inch shelf.
Yeah. And like your advancer shelves look way worse than mine ever did. Like because you've had a little bit more drippage and stuff like that.
I use a speckled clay too. Maybe there's probably
And
little
the
specks from the
specs come
clay.
through. Yeah, like I don't know why mine held up so well. I think it is because I did the alumina every single time. Like I'd literally I'd
I don't
unload the shelves.
re-alumina that much, but
Yeah, so I would unload the shelves and put them down. I wouldn't do anything to them. And then when I loaded, I would grind the shelf with my red grinder, the red stony one. And I would then put aluminum on there, dust it off with my hands, and put the shelf in. And I did that for years. And my shelves
mm,
looked fucking great at the end,
mm.
you
Yeah, I don't
know?
do that grinding and reapplying it every time. I don't
Yeah.
really do that, but
Um, I would say that I prefer the red-handled grinder over the magic, whatever it's called,
glaze eraser.
the glaze eraser. But if you're gonna use the glaze eraser, I would use it sideways. So, like, I would kind of like grind it over the shelf instead of like scraping it like little bits. I would use like a bigger surface area. But like
Oh yeah.
scrape the bits and then
Scrape the
grind over the
glaze.
whole.
Yeah, the glaze chunks, you'd probably want to do that with the edge,
Yeah.
kind of at a 45-degree angle. And then
Yeah.
once you get it flat, use one side of the
Yeah.
square to.
The long side, yeah, for sure. Um, it just like grinds it all down because when you think about it, so here's something also that people don't know about advancers, and it really doesn't come up until you have a bajillion people firing in your kiln and you fire your kiln a bajillion times and all the things get like everywhere. Is that like when you have really dirty advancers and you're not cleaning them like super duper well every single time, pots will start picking up that glaze under there and
Yeah.
taking it with them. So like at at community studios or something like that, nothing ever comes off clean because that glaze isn't like coming up all the way and they're not preparing the shelf
And
maybe
it could be hard
the
to notice
best.
too, because you're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, like the glaze came off or whatever. It's not just caked
Like
on there. So you're like, oh,
like
it's
we
fine.
scraped it off. And it's like, yeah, you did. You did, but it still holds on to a little, so using some sort of a layer over that to kind of help is nice. It does help a little bit. And but like I said, you're not gonna notice that unless your whole entire shelf is like just fucking glazed, you know?
Right.
So, unless you just like literally paint the shelf with glaze and then scrape it off, or have 100 students that don't ever wax the bottoms of their pots, you won't notice
Mm-hmm.
that. So,
Yeah. And I do use the only time I do use kiln wash, I do use it in the soda kiln because if I don't use it, I actually have to put it on the top and the bottom of the shells. I probably don't need to use it as much on the top, honestly, because it's stuff's not going to drip off the top of the shelf, but I put it on the top and the bottom because if the soda is getting vaporized in the kiln and circulating, it'll stick to the bottom of the shelf and it can drip off of the shelf into the pots below. So that's why I do that. If you have the kiln wash, it won't stick to that.
yeah.
So that's why I do you'll use kiln wash and that's where we use the diamond grinding to sand it all down flat
Yeah.
and then it's not too bad to clean up. I could still scrape it off, the glaze and the soda and everything, but we pretty much have to sand it and then reapply it every single firing just
Yeah.
to be safe. So,
Hmm.
and make sure if you do well, for me in the soda kiln, if you do heavy sanding and you're gonna do the bottom, make sure to wipe it with a sponge or get it clean before applying kiln wash because it will not stick that well if you
Yeah.
because that happened when we fired soda. And did you ever? So you scraped it, but did you ever wipe it with a sponge before you put more alumina, or did you ever sponge your shelves at all for
No,
the
I would
dust?
scrape it and like blow on it, like
Okay.
wipe it. I'd probably wipe it with a sleeve, honestly, which I don't recommend. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, not too bad. I actually have them right here. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, the kiln wash stays on there pretty good. But you can also, I mean, like a regular shelf, it's nice that if you're taking kiln wash off of regular shelves, it can be kind of tough to get it off there without damaging the shelf, and then you end up with
Yeah.
not a flat shelf. So,
Yeah. Speaking of advancers, did you know that Advancer finally made a kiln shelf small enough for the L&L plug-in fire?
yeah, I need to get one of those. I feel like I want to get just an extra one, just to be. Maybe I can get one at Inseca.
Yeah, just to be safe.
Yeah, because I kind of want to know how much. Because I did the post about, oh, I fit 30 spoon rests in there that I bisque fired, and then I forgot to document like how I loaded it because some people were like, wait, now I need to see how you fit that much in there, and they were like, okay, now show me your glaze fire. How many firings is that? And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I would need another shelf to try to optimize as much
Mm-hmm.
space in the plug and fire for the spoon rests, but I've only got 3 shelves, so we
Yeah.
shall see.
Yeah. That plug-in fire, man. Freaking wild.
Hmm. Yeah, you fit a
It's
lot in there. I'm using a lot more than I thought, so especially this time
yeah.
of year, getting stuff through quickly without having to worry about it.
Yeah, lifesaver. Cheryl got one.
Oh, did
I
she?
think I told, yeah, she
Did she
got
get it set
one.
up while you were there, or did she get it like after you left?
No, her husband bought it for her while I was there as a Christmas present. And
What a Christmas present.
I know. And they got like he got a really good deal on ceramic shop. So, yeah, you know what we don't talk about very often with the plug and fire is like where you can buy them. You can buy them at like Clay King, you can buy them at the ceramic shop, you can buy it directly from L&L, right?
Hmm.
And
It said, well, I mean, they have other distributors. I'm gonna say Sheffield Pottery, but I don't know specifically if they have the plug and fire.
yeah,
It looks like it looks like they do, actually.
Sheffield Pottery, Clay King, Northwest Potter Supply, The Ceramic Shop, Neil Estrick Gallery, Kruger Pottery Supply, Claywork Supply, The Kiln Guy LLC, um, Clayscapes,
Clayscapes.
Rusty Kiln Ceramic Studio, J. Batterden, Rocky Mountain Clay, Bailey Pottery Supply, Dogwood Ceramic Supply, Koch Ceramics, Gem Ceramics Mold Company, Bracker's Gold Earth Clays, Clay Planet, all kiln services. Boom!
Whew. There's a lot of Pennsylvania in there, but y'all will recognize a number of these places if they're close to you.
Yeah, and I believe that you might be able to get them from Blick Art Materials, but online only. So,
Yeah. So a number of them are cheaper from certain distributors compared to L&L's website, but figure out what obviously there's shipping considerations too and all of that, but
yeah, and highly recommend the wheels. Highly recommend the wheels. If you get it, just add those on. They have wheels, they have a stand for, well, like a wall mount for the box that they have, like the additional box. And they also have a big stand that's like tall and super sturdy, and it all ships flat pack. So that's really nice. So it's not like super expensive shipping, I believe.
yeah, it looks like they've got a number of these distributors also have those attachments on there too.
Yeah.
So you can kind of use some of those options.
If you were going to get one of the one of the attachments, what would you get? And this is wheels or tall cart, not wheel tall cart.
What about the wall mount? I was gonna say the wall mount.
Well, I was gonna, yeah, okay, I would get wheels,
I
which
think
I
based
did.
on my current situation, because I don't see myself moving it around. But I mean, if I had it on the tall stand and it was on wheels, I mean, that's kind of a double dip though. But
That
I mean,
would
I
be life
could
changing.
roll it out of the way, but I'm like, would I gain that much? Like, am I really in that footprint normally that I would need to move? I mean, it's kind of janky the way it is now, sitting on top of blocks, but I mean, the tall stand would be nice on casters. But then I'd have to figure out where to, well, I guess maybe I wouldn't have to figure out where to put the box because maybe the
It
cord
has
would be
a,
long enough to, you could
yeah, because
mount.
it has a mount on the side of it, but you could roll it to wherever you want to plug it in.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for you in your space, yeah, I mean, I kind of gave you a trick question because it really only works for you in that space with a tall
I mean, I could roll it over to
one
another
with a,
outlet
yeah, I mean, I'm saying like you'd have to have rollers on the tall
stand. Yeah.
stand. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's nice to have options though.
Indeed.
I'm sure you'll be able to see it in person at Ensika if you're going to that in March coming up. So we'll be in Salt Lake City. We'll also be at ClayCon West. So if you're going there, LNL will not be at ClayCon West, but we will
Are you
be.
sure?
I don't think so.
I know Scott's at Click on us, so I don't know.
I feel like they don't normally
They
make
would
the
have
trip
to.
out because it's kind of a
Yeah, it's a
long
long one.
trek all the way
Yeah.
from Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Technically, I guess they're in New Jersey, but
Yeah.
right outside Philly. But yeah, we'll see you all there. Go see Hot Kilns. Go see LNL. I'm sure they'll be giving away a kiln. I wonder if they're giving away the same kilns that they normally do at Ensika, like, or if they're gonna give away one of the plug-in fires, or
I don't know. I think
maybe they'll
that,
double dip it. Maybe actually, I just saw something on Ensika's advertising that they have some drawing going on where a plug-in fire is in the drawing.
oh, nice. Yeah, I know that they have a larger booth this year for Ensika. So that's exciting.
Mm.
And yeah, so I don't know. I know he told me and I don't remember. So, but I don't know if I would say anyway. But yeah, where can you find all that stuff?
Hotkilns.com.
Hikilns.com.
Yeah, it says donate $25 today to win an L&L plug-in fire kiln.
Hmm.
So it's donate $25 by January 7th to be entered. And Sika.net/donate.
Ooh, fancy
So they're
fans.
they're giving away a number of different things, but the plug-in fire is one of them. So
Lloyd has officially occupied 80% of the length of the dog bed made for a pit bull.
oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
For a pit bull?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got his arms like stretched out and his legs stretched out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's way skinnier than it, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, he is loving the dog bed. Wow, wow, wow. If only I had enough room for a dog bed. I don't. I don't, and I don't want one. He's got a real
You'd
bed.
have to have a good amount of floor space for that.
Yeah, no thank you. Well, I guess I could put it on the real bed and have it be like a big pillow, but I don't love him that much, so um I only love him enough to keep him alive. Okay, so
We're
we're going to
talking
talk.
2024, 2025.
I'm kind of stoked about this, I'm not gonna lie.
And you didn't even know about this until we got on the call, and I was like, I feel like this is getting to that part of the year where
Yeah,
people were expecting this.
Yeah,
Just
and
natural.
I even got to do a little bookkeeping while we were talking beforehand to
Hmm.
actually figure out my finances, which is dismal. So,
What do you Okay, maybe this is a good starting question. What do you use to actually track that and see that information?
good question. I have a sales tax profit chart, sales tax slash profit chart. And if you live in Indiana and you would like this, you're more than welcome to message me. I'm sure it would work in other states too, but specifically, this was made for Indiana. Um, and it has all the all of the months, and then it has a bunch of different categories, so then I can see, and then it has a chart above, and it has Square sales, Indiana taxable sales through Square, fair sales, Etsy sales, and then total sales, and then it has deductions, which is for the Indiana sales tax, and then so that's my profit area. And then I have formulas that, you know, subtract things from things and move things. And then I have Etsy fees, marketing for Square, Etsy marketing, and then the total expenses for that month. And then it goes down to a total expenses for the year, and then a total sales for the year, and then it negatives out the expenses from the profit. And I mean, this is not like real expenses. This is just like expenses through Etsy and
Hmm.
fees and stuff like that. So it's very simple.
Is this
But
from the Indiana government, like a
no,
program, or is it some third party person that you got it from, or
no, I made it.
oh, you made it. Okay. But
Like,
so it's pretty manual input and all of that, or is it actually like linked with bank accounts
oh yeah,
or
yeah, no,
linked
it's
with your
manual.
Etsy accounts and everything? Okay.
It's manual, but it's so simple. All I do is pull up Square, pull up Etsy, pull up Fair. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
So it's not like, yeah.
So it's
So
kind of
it's
running reports on the whole year and just putting in, okay, here's my expenses from Etsy for the whole year. Here's my expenses
right,
from Square for the whole year.
right. And this will be different than my final like income for the whole year because I have Hurdlr, the account Hurdlr
Hmm.
account, and that's a kind of like an accounting software that I
Can you
use
spell
every
that for
year.
people that aren't familiar with it?
Yes, I sure freaking can
Because I
if
remember I
I
always
can
get
find it.
confused.
I know, I always confuse myself too. I have to find it. Okay, it's Hurdlr.
Hurdlr, and it's a mobile app, I suspect.
It is a mobile app, and it can not only can it track your expenses and your income, but it can also track your moving.
Your gas
So
mileage and stuff like that.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that it just like pretty positive that it did not track the trip I just did. So that's a bummer. But
Dang. Is it a
I
paid
know.
app?
It is a paid app. It costs $99 a year. I pay for it because I'm sure, actually, I'm positive it saves me $99 a year.
I was gonna say it's a business expense anyway, so
Yep.
if it's making your life easier and you're actually tracking things that you wouldn't have tracked otherwise, then it's probably a
Yeah.
good thing.
And you can like create rules. So it's like, oh, yeah, I always go from there, here to here. Um,
Yeah.
oh,
So
good.
that's
It tracked from like all the way to December 14th. So it must have just stopped after December 14th. I can do that. So,
I suspect you
and
could probably manually input some information in there too if it misses something or
you can. Like, I'm gonna put this is technically a business expense coming to Colorado because I'm gonna do a workshop here.
yeah,
So,
there you go.
and I'm gonna work here. So, yeah, business expense.
I was curious how you do your mileage because basically everywhere you're going, you are technically working and you are going for certain reasons.
Technically, but not really, because like when I was in Westville in Indiana, I wasn't driving for work, you know? So
But when you
that
went
none of
from
the
from the Beals to Pottery Tour, you did, and vice
Yeah,
and back.
right. And so, and I can like look back. I'm one of those type of people that has like a really good memory for this type of stuff. So like if I look back at all of the trips that I've taken on here, I'll be like, "Oh, I know what that is," even if it's like 2 years ago. I've
Okay.
always been that type of person, so that's why bookkeeping has been pretty easy for me to do like at the end of the year all at once, which I don't suggest. But
I just grimaced.
what?
I said I just grimaced for people that couldn't hear me
Oh
or
yeah.
see me.
So, which I don't try to do that, but it sometimes happens. I need to do like it would be nice for me to do the driving quarterly so I remember it, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I really like Hurdlr. And also, if you want to get it, contact me, message me on Instagram or email me because I think I can give you, uh,
A
I
referral
think,
code that helps you and helps them.
I think so. So I'll figure that out.
Yeah, I'd suspect
But
there'd be a discount for first time, like sign up for a year and save $30 or something like that.
yeah,
And then you probably get a little kickback,
yeah, exactly. And like,
like $10 off for each person you refer or whatever.
yeah, referral rewards. So I've have one user's referred. Um, so yeah, I can copy a link and send it to you.
We can, if you want to give it to me, I can put it in the show notes if you
Okay.
would like.
I will email it.
How do you spell it? Hur?
DLR.
Hurdler.
Okay, I just sent it to Wheel Talk.
All right. I will put that in the show notes for those of you that are hearing this and want to find it easily and don't want to have to message Becca and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if you get anything, but I get $20. So,
Nice. There's probably something.
yeah, there's probably there's got to be something.
Why wouldn't they want to help you out?
Exactly. So, I absolutely recommend it, especially if you're not like a super um savvy, like you don't, you wait for the last minute to do the bookkeeping stuff. Highly recommend. And I will say though, they do not work with Fidelity, the bank, very well. So if you only have Fidelity accounts, don't use it. But
You mean
yeah.
like actually authenticating with your bank and it tracks some other things through your bank account? Is that what you mean?
Like the app Plaid
Yeah.
that okay, so Plaid is what a lot of apps use to link bank accounts, and
Hmm.
Fidelity basically a couple years ago was like, F you, Plaid, we're not working with you. So Hurdlr only works through Plaid, and you can't set one up manually. And so I
Mm.
called them and they were like, or I messaged them and they were like, yeah, unfortunately you're screwed. So I
Dang.
have it I have it linked somehow. I don't know if it was just through expenses or through income too, but I don't make a lot of money, so it's not that hard to figure that out. Um, but yeah,
Okay.
so just like if you have Chase or something like that, totally fine. Even my other bank that was tiny was totally fine. It's just Fidelity. So
Okay. Well, whatever works. Find something that works for you. I mean, if you don't want to manually keep up with stuff, I would suspect as long as you're starting somewhere and tracking, like
yeah.
some folks, I think when I started out, I wasn't tracking mileage that well. And you go to good old pen and paper and jot down where you're going and the miles when you get back, and
Yeah, see this for miles, that's worth
that's
$99 to
worth
me
it. Yeah.
immediately. And oh, I forgot how I was gonna tell you that it hooks up through Square too. So if you do most of your business through
Oh.
Square, you can hook it up and it'll take the incoming income through Square. So yeah.
Yeah, because those miles add up. It looks like mileage deduction from 2023 was 67 cents. Um, or 67 cents up 1.5 5 cents from 2023. So, okay, 2024 is 67 cents a mile in the US. So,
Yeah.
definitely want to keep track of those miles for
Yeah, I mean,
business.
like a lot of people don't drive as much as I do, but they save so much. Now, let's be clear on something. Like you need to look up the rules for mileage because it is important. Like I'm not counting every single mile that I drive business.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, yeah,
so
to and from shows, to and from the clay supply store, to and from the post
yeah.
office, all those basic things. Like if it's iffy and you're like, I'm going out to see family and I stop over to um, you know, drop a piece at a friend's house, like maybe don't do the whole trip to two
Yeah,
hours
just
to
do
see
to
family.
it. Like
Just
just
do
do
like
to
from your
the
family house to their house
yeah.
and back to your family house.
Yeah. So yeah, look at the rules because is some like very specific things. Like I can't remember if you live in your own house and work out of your own house. There's certain rules coming in to and from your house. Like sometimes it's only you can only count to your work instead of from your work. Like it's stupid shit. So like there's a lot of rules.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So that's my spreadsheet. Your spreadsheet's like
Mine is a bookkeeping spreadsheet that it's like a system that I've built over the years. I've talked about this a number of times, but it's kind of that part of the year. So, this is a good opportunity to tell folks about it so that they can, if they're like, I don't know how to track this shit. Like, I've been using this system for like 6 years or whatever. Um, so I use a combination of Google Sheets and Google Forms. So basically, I get a check from a consignment shop or I do a show. I fill out a Google form that's categorized for income. I fill out the date, what the show was, how much I made, whether it was cash sales or check or whatever. And then if I need to categorize it as I collected Kentucky sales tax or Ohio or Indiana sales tax for it, and I need to pay that, I'll categorize it that way. And then I submit the form and it goes into my spreadsheet. So that spreadsheet is a combination of income, expenses. It's got also like fees, which is kind of like expenses, but a little bit different. I use that for like Etsy fees and show fees, like booth and application fees and things like that. So, and then I also integrated some analytics parts to uh, that that kind of master spreadsheet. So it's got a lot of analysis in there that has been evolving over the years, and it helps me look at, I put in data from the previous year. Okay, how am I doing in the month of March compared to last March? How am I doing in quarter one compared to last quarter of last year? And it does some of that analysis and then it breaks down, how much money am I making from consignment sales versus wholesale versus shows versus commissions, however granular you want to get with it, and you can tweak all those different areas. And that's basically what we do in my bookkeeping workshops. So that's what I've been using. That's what I've taught a number of folks to use over. I think I've been teaching those for 2 years, maybe three. I think 3 years. So I think we've had about 100 and maybe about 115 people that have participated in the workshops over those years. So I'll usually have, I think I had two last year, two of those workshops. So I'll have some of those
Mhm.
at the beginning of the year, January, February timeframe when people are actually thinking about this. Maybe they're doing analysis and like logging their information for tax season for 2024 and they're trying to get organized. So there's a way for you to set that up for 2024 as well as looking ahead and setting it up for 2025. So that's what I've been using, but you also need to be very diligent about it. I'm very good at individually logging all of this stuff. So you do have to keep up with it. It's not something you'd want to wait till the end of the year to do just because it becomes pretty cumbersome. But the system's set up that I can open an app on my phone, fill out a form, and then submit it. And I don't have to go into an Excel sheet, find the right cell, type it in, make sure that it's in the right spot, make sure it's formatted right, all that stuff. I used to do that, but it's kind of got to a spot where forms are kind of the way that I like to submit my data now. And then all the analysis happens behind the scenes. You don't have to manually go in and run reports and all that. It's already set up to do that for you. So yeah, that's what I've been using, and that's what's worked for me. So it's worked for a number of people, and I do have a an email list for that. I'll put a link in the show notes as well for that. So if you want to get on the email list for when those come out, if you're listening to it now, it's probably going to be coming up in probably late January, early February. So look out for that.
Yep.
That's yeah, that's what allows me to look at these numbers any day of the year, and I'm pretty comfortable with where I'm at and that it's accurate. So I do still manually track my mileage though. I don't use Hurdlr or some other app to track that. Um, I also work from home, so I don't like I don't feel like it's an I mean I do have a lot of trips, but I feel like it's still kind of manageable
Yeah.
that I can keep up with it. But yeah, we'll see if that changes in the future.
Nice. Do you know what I just realized also is that I haven't like created a tax account for the Department of Revenue for Tennessee, because I didn't have a business in Tennessee last year. So I have to like create that and like pay the sales tax on that.
Hmm. For the
So now I,
income made in Tennessee. Well, you're gonna have to do that at the end of the year. I mean, it's probably gonna think you incorporated or like started the business like right now, I guess, right? Because you don't really do
yeah.
you transfer it from Indiana? Or did you have to
No, you
do
don't
something
transfer,
with Indiana?
you just like create a new business. You just cancel the Indiana one.
Okay.
But yeah, so I've got to like yeah, I got to remember to do that. But
Do you
now I
still have to
figured it
pay
out.
some income taxes to Indiana for
No, there's no,
2024?
there's no. This is just for business. Income taxes are not something that Indiana does. It's a no income tax state. So,
I thought that was Tennessee was.
oh, see,
Good.
this is why I messed up on my taxes last year because of Indiana, Tennessee, and Kentucky. You remember when I
I
messed
feel
up?
like you mentioned something about that. It
It's
was
because
like,
like
did you live in
all
Kentucky or something? And it was like, no, I didn't live in Kentucky. I lived in wherever.
yeah, like all of them are just like so random and I don't know
Hmm.
why
Because I
I
suspect you would owe Indiana a portion of your year of the income you made in the state of Indiana through
yeah, but I
2024, and then
canceled
you.
that. No, I canceled it in 2024 or 2023. Like I'm
Oh,
pretty
so
good
you
at
never would.
canceling things
Okay.
on the year.
Okay. That's good.
That's something that I've gotten good at.
Okay. So it's just Tennessee, but you need to kind of start it up
Yeah.
and kind of, man, you just be like closing in Indiana and you just be floating around like no states like, hey, we're, ready to.
Ugh, it's
Also,
the
the sales tax
worst.
stuff, like Kentucky, you kind of have to, for sales tax, the shows kind of designate, hey, we had this person at this show. Here's a
Well, I didn't have
form.
any shows.
And
I didn't have any shows.
if you don't send something in, you'll get a notice and say, "Hey, we noticed you were in this show and you didn't send us a form. We're waiting on it and we charge you a penalty for not submitting it in time." Usually you have
Yeah.
about a month after the show to send something in. So Rachel's been doing that lately because she's been doing some shows and I'm like, "Here's what you need to do. You fill out the top and submit it and it's got your tax ID." So they know like, "Hey, this tax ID, we're waiting for sales tax for this stuff." For the show that she did. So, but yeah, each of the states are different.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a to-do list for tomorrow. I like to get on top of that and I like to get all that stuff. I'm pretty sure I only file annually because I would have set the account up in January and I thought that
Yeah.
I was gonna file. I mean, like I made $0 this year, so
Yeah,
I think it's
they kind
fine.
of want you to set a baseline before they decide like, hey, you need to pay us quarterly.
Yeah. And like I didn't sell anything in the state of Tennessee because it was all pretty much online. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. And workshops and stuff like that. So yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Can we talk about our how much money we made?
Sure.
Do you know how much money you
Now,
made?
yeah, I know how much I made as of today.
Okay, great.
It's not gonna, it might be missing the Etsy sales for the month of December because I generally don't run them until the start of the next month, but I can look that up.
Well, yeah, look it up and we'll just add it.
And
Okay.
when I'm gonna tell you my numbers, I talk about this with Isaac all the time. The number that I give you is the big number. It's the total money taken in, including sales tax, including fees, including everything. It's not after taxes. It's not after, I've paid something. It's the total collected. That's what my numbers are. So it's the highest number possible that I could give you. Includes cash too. So he always gets on me about that. He's like, "Come
Yeah.
on, you're padding your stats." I'm like, "No, that's like what I actually collected. You're asking for like I don't know if that I always get iffy with these revenue like the word revenue and stuff. I always think revenue is like the biggest number, but that I don't know if that's accounting wise technically the right name for that, but
Yeah.
total money collected.
Okay. Total money collected. Sweet. Um, who's going first?
I thought you had yours ready. I got to run a little bit of math here, but
Oh, okay, I'll go first. I do have mine ready. Okay. I feel like I should preface this, especially if you're just listening to this for the first time. First of all, I apologize. And second of all, uh, I should preface this with this year was the year of Becca. I've been on a slow decline. I'm not on an uphill climb. Okay, uphill climb. I'm on a downhill fall.
the down slope.
I'm on the downslope. So this was pretty much intentional. For the most part, it's been a if you need money, find money year. So we knew that it was going to be pretty low. Okay. Didn't do any shows, only sold online. No, I did 2 shows.
You did pottery tour, you did coffee festival.
Yeah. Pottery Tour and Coffee Festival. So, and you can definitely tell which month was Pottery Tour. Okay. So I will tell you, I'm going to tell you my biggest month was April. That's a lie. My biggest month was actually March at $3,481. My lowest month was December at $0. And my total revenue for the year of 2024, what do you want to guess?
Revenue's a big number before anything taken out. Is that how you're doing
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Man, I wish I knew what last year was.
Oh, it's
Um,
got nothing to do with last year. Last year was 35.
I'm gonna guess 26.
Oh, you are wrong. It is
Close.
14,895.
Oh my gosh. When people talk about livable wage, that is not what they're talking about.
No, it's not. Um, there is money somewhere else. I don't know where it is. It will be counted in my taxes because it goes into my bank account. Uh, like
Oh,
the
it, yeah.
appropriate bank account. But like, I didn't count money from the workshops, which were all like checks or whatever, and those go into the right
Wait, that
bank
should
account.
totally be counted. I mean, that's a big part of your income during the November timeframe.
That
And you
is true.
probably cashed them in December. Like that's part of your, that would be like me completely avoiding talking about like commissions or something.
Well, I just don't have that. Like, listen, I did this right before we talked, okay? I
Okay.
wasn't prepared. I would have put that in, but you didn't tell me. So, like, you completely caught me off guard. Here, I can do quick math.
That's why I was
So
like
what?
December, you probably got a check from somebody in December, right?
Actually, no, I really did make $0 in
Or
December.
didn't you do a little story sale or an online sale? And at the very end of November, early December, didn't you put stuff up on Etsy?
Yeah, but nobody bought anything. It was in November. It was at the very end of November, but nobody bought anything in December. Okay,
Really?
so
Okay.
yeah. Um, okay. You continue on. Are you done with your mental math?
I mean, it wasn't mental, I just added it up, but
Okay. I need a freaking piece of paper. What, how does my mom have a whole sewing table and no pens? Like, isn't she writing anything down?
you'd probably draw on fabric with a marker or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Okay, you can start talking.
Would think so. All right. Um, like I said, I wait to calculate everything until the last bell has been rung on the year because I still have Etsy orders that will come in. Obviously, it's gonna be minor. It's not gonna be, $1,000 difference between December 19th, which is today, and the end of the year, but it could be a few $100s. Same on the expenses side. I mean, there will be shipping costs for the Etsy orders and stuff like that. And I do have a couple small commissions that I'll get paid for pretty soon. So, um, yeah. So if we're talking collected, last year I was at, let me actually pull up last year because I did want to mention that. Because I did have some general goals about what numbers I was trying to hit last year or this year. All right, so last year income was right at about 95,000. It's total collected. This year I'm sitting at about 98,000. My stretch goal was to break 100,000. So we shall see if we get there. I think we're gonna fall just short, but that's okay. And let's see, expenses. Now I feel like I need to go to my expense sheet from Instagram last year. Um, I did actually want to see where that compared. Let's see. All right, expenses last year were 37,000. Right now it looks like I'm sitting at about 31,000 actually.
Apparently, I actually started um the Fidelity account in May. Continue.
So it looks like I'm sitting at 31,000 for
Oh, sorry,
expenses this
Lloyd.
year, but it's probably going to be up a little bit more than that because I don't have the I don't think I have my Square fees on here. Usually what I do is I wait till the very end of the year because I have invoices through there, I have shows through there, and I usually run the fees calculation at the very end and just look at that and put that as one line item. So those fees are going to be higher, so the expenses are going to be up more than that. I would guess probably let me look at what it was last year or what it was this year. Last year, Square fees were 1,100 bucks. Yeah, so it'll be up another thousand, probably 1,500 bucks, I would guess. something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's where we're sitting. I think we'll end up about, so what is that difference? About, is that 60, 67? That seems high. 67,000 profit,
Wow.
something like that. Last year I was right at about 58,000.
Okay,
So
what was your total again?
my total is going to be
Oh,
right at about 98,000.
God damn it, you're so
That
close to 100.
that's where, yeah, that's where I'm going to be close, but um I think I'm going to get, that's where I was kind of hoping the sale that I just did this week was going to push 1,000. It was at 600. Just a little bit of extra would have helped. Because I think pushing it another 2,000 is going to be a stretch in the last 2 weeks. That would have to be significant Etsy sales because I don't have anywhere else to
Yeah.
get it to come from. Unless the only other thing I can think of that I could get um income would be if I were to get the bookkeeping stuff ready for
Yeah.
next year and I were to send it out to people that have bookkeeping ha already used the bookkeeping workshops and I just send it out for them to pay for the next year and it's just a one-time fee. Usually those are small though. It's like 30 or 40 bucks, I think. So I'd have to get a number of people to sign up for that. Or you know what, maybe I pick a date for my next Soda Fire workshop, which
Yeah.
are 200 and 200 and some change, 175, 200 bucks. So, you know, I could, if I filled up one or two of those, could maybe push it to get there. But even if it falls short by like 1,000, it's not that, I mean, it's so close, you know,
So close.
it's all right.
It's so close.
I know.
Dang.
So we shall see. But yeah, that's where we're
Yeah.
sitting. I'll get all the final numbers and I put that out for my recap on Instagram. And that's I kind
Mm-hmm.
of use I know I remember doing this last year. I was sitting in front of the fire and running the numbers. I think the first week of January. I think the first weekend in January and I was getting all those numbers calculated, all the pots thrown, all of that done. And it was fun to like have that finality of making sure it's all right and accounted for. So,
Yeah.
but yep, that's where we're at.
Cool. Okay,
Did you
well,
run some other numbers?
well, it's a little bit hard. So I will say that in Square, we already know Square. So I'll look at my Venmo. Venmo cashed out $1,500 in September. So we can add that. And
It's probably pottery tour
also,
money, right? Pottery tour and
yeah,
maybe
also,
workshop.
you have to account for the 250 that we get from every month and from the pot swap. I mean, not pot swap, from pottery
The wheel talk
and
stuff. And
the
then
wheel talk stuff.
I mean, did you count any pot swap stuff?
Um, no, not on that one. And okay, and then in the past 90 days, I have, well, that I'm not counting the direct deposits that I've made from Square because that's just like my savings that to be fair, I've been living off of a little bit of savings this year. So,
I suspect, I
um,
mean, pushing $15,000 seems like
yeah.
you're living on beans
So,
and rice and beans.
and I'm not. I feel very comfortable actually. Um, so 510 was a check received on December 4th. Uh,
That's a workshop.
that's a workshop. And then I got 252 as a check. I got 1,500 from uh Pot Swap.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like 315 from Venmo. So I mean there's a few, another 1,100 from Venmo. And
Yeah, you had
then
some December. I mean the
yeah, there's
numbers you're talking,
probably
you're probably
like
talking 3,000 or
yeah,
so.
there's probably like 3,000. So it's probably like 17,000. But if you think about it, I have to, but I also started when I opened the account. When I opened the account in May, I started with almost 5 grand. So I started with 4 grand, $4,038. So I have no idea where that came from, but I mean, like, yes, this year has been very tight, but I found the money when I need to, and I mean, I don't feel like I'm struggling all that much. I mean, it's not like when we go out to dinner, I'm not like paying for dinner and I've bought like $100 in presents for my, like, I probably have spent like $500 this year for Christmas presents. Like, we will see how January goes.
Hmm.
But
How does that
yeah,
number compare to the last like 10 years? Does it feel, because I suspect you've probably been at that number in the past, right?
no,
No,
no, because when I was in the
since
studio, I
you've
was
been
making
doing,
like 70 grand. And before that, I had a
is
job
that,
and
was that
then
17? I know you're talking 17. That's your big number, right? What is your after expense number? Like, do you know your actual profit number?
no, no. Um,
Because you said studio
because
was 70 grand, but I suspect a lot more expenses.
yeah, I think that
So,
when I had the studio, I was probably living off of like 25,000. And um, I think that yeah, I mean, like, kind of what you're saying is that it's important to note that I've always lived off of very little money. And not only that, but I've always had either rent, mortgage, or car payment that has been almost $1,000. So
which to some
I've,
people would be like, that is nothing. $1,000 is nothing for
right. And
car
to some
rent and
people,
everything.
that's a ton. But yeah, so I feel like every year when we do this, we talk about how little I make
Well,
and how I like live off
I just
of
hope
it.
people can hear you say, I don't feel like I'm in a tough spot, but it's also like you're probably there's a reason you feel that way. Because some people will be like,
Yeah.
she just doesn't realize that she's in such a tough area that like she just feels like that's normal. Whereas most people will be like, that is absolutely not normal. You need to do something about that to get yourself out of that situation because I'm sure you'd be much happier. But also, like, I don't know. I suspect some
Well,
people
I
can't.
think that also a lot of people that assume I have debt. I'm not making $25,000, 15 to, I mean, I'm not making $20,000 uh with $60,000 of debt in the bank,
Mhm.
$40,000. I have the only debt I have is my car. So, and I have been extraordinarily blessed because when I was in Washington, I had a bunch of debt. I had like 40 grand in debt, and I sold my house and I made 90 grand. So I got out of that debt. And then not only that, but I got a little like boost. And now that's gone up and down over the years, but I've been able to stay out of debt that entire time. And and like, I owned my car like outright. And like when I moved to Indianapolis, and I also have this year I did a switch because in the middle of the year I was stressed. And I don't, and honestly, I don't mind talking about my finances on here. I know that some people probably are like, don't tell everybody what you have. But I clearly don't have that much. So, but I do, actually. I do. So in my retirement accounts, I have like $42,000. And in an investment account that's a savings account, which is stems from that house and also the time at Gravesco when I could save a little bit more money. That has about $8,000 in it, depending on the market, because it's all invested. But that $8,000 is my emergency car payment for a year. So, or 8 months or whatever. So, like, if it needed to happen, I could pull that out. Yes, I'd have to pay capital gains. I don't give a fuck. Um, because if I needed to, I needed it, you know?
It's not capital gains if you pull the money out. It's a penalty. It's a tax penalty.
No, it's
I'm
just
sorry.
invested.
I'm
It's
sorry.
not
I thought
retirement.
you're okay.
No,
Okay.
no, no,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no.
I was looking something up about a
Yeah, it's
typical
okay.
retirement. Yeah.
So, so yeah, I had a retirement account that's a Roth IRA and a rollover Roth, and then I have an investment account with Vanguard that has like $8,000 in it that can be taken out at any time if I needed it, but that's
Hmm.
largely untouched if I can help it. So, and I pay my car payment out of my Vanguard account. So and I, and I like at the beginning of this year, I started with $1,000 extra in that account. I don't know how. And, and then, so I kind of had a buffer for the months
Hmm.
that didn't get there as much. So, so and not only that, but I've been extraordinarily fortunate that my parents are extremely good with money, and so they've taught me certain tricks, and
Hmm.
they've been there when I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like this whole reorganization of my bank account has, what's up?
May I interrupt you?
Sure.
Where are you sleeping?
I'll sleep on the couch.
What do you need?
Nothing. A
No.
blanket, pillow blanket.
Okay, I recommend you put the feet both up on both sides.
Cool. Okay, sorry.
I'll give you
Since
something
my
nice to sleep on.
yeah.
Nicer to sleep
Um.
on.
So due to that reorganization that we did in apparently May, I thought it was January. In May, it just became a lot easier to deal with money. Now, I do have credit cards, so I have three credit cards. I have a business credit card, Prime credit card, and a Costco credit card. And um, so I spend everything on my Costco credit card. Oh, and gas. I forgot, and a gas credit card. So, and that gas
That
credit
makes
card
sense.
specifically, yeah, it's specifically, I pretty much, especially when I'm doing trips like this, I only pay on that gas credit card. So I don't mix up all the money. But yeah, the business credit card's only for business expenses, obviously. The Prime and the Costco credit card, typically, if it's over $600, if it's over $800 total, I'm freaking out.
You're talking about the
And
balance.
yeah, and the gas card, if it's over like $300, I'm like, fuck. So, so I try to keep all of my credit cards below $1,000. Like my goal is to
You're also
spend
paying those off monthly, I suspect.
I do pay those off monthly. So
Yeah,
my
so you're not
goal
carrying
is
debt like every month by month by month by month like a lot of folks do.
right, but what those credit cards are doing for me is that they're giving me a goal. So when I create a balance on those credit cards because I have a month to pay it off, that means I have a month to get the money for it. And so it's not as much of a I have to get the money now. It's more, okay, I have like 20 days, you know? So that's why my stress is a lot less. Now, I couldn't have done this when I was 20. I would have died.
Yeah, I suspect you kind of you that's kind of the I'm gonna say gimmick, or that's kind of the hope with the credit card is that they get you there, get you to spend, and then you're not thinking about, okay, I'm gonna need to
Yeah.
pay it off later, and something's gonna come up that you can't plan for, and you say, okay, I'm comfortable with $600 now. But what if that balance was $1,400? You know,
Exactly.
so
So like right now, and also like sometimes I'll buy stuff for friends, and so it freaks me out. Like right now, my Prime credit card is at like $1,000 because I bought presents for Teresa and Brandon, for Teresa and Brandon. So
right.
so because Brandon sees all the money. So like
You're trying to, yeah, you're hiding it from them because you're kind of getting
yeah, and like a
somebody
couple
is
months,
paying you for the other thing. Yeah.
right, and I told her she can pay me after Christmas because he's gonna know.
They're gonna notice, yeah.
Like, yeah, he's gonna know because it's not an insignificant amount, you know. Um, so like that is like woo. So like Prime this month is like stressful. And but I had savings in Square that I've been like that 20% that we've talked about where in the balance section of Square you can take a certain percentage of all of your income and stash it away. And because I know I won't have to pay taxes this year because I've made $0, I I was comfortable taking out like $1,200 this month and putting it into my account and then moving it to where it needs to go. So I have like I'm kind of like a chipmunk. I like stash money in different
Mhm.
different places.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect your relationship with debt and understanding that like you've had it in the past and it kind of just holds you down. That
Oh yeah, it's so
you're
stressful.
like, okay, that is freeing to not have the house
Yeah.
payment and the car payments. I mean, you do have the one car payment now, but that is your essentially your mortgage and your vehicle. So, um,
Yeah.
and it's manageable enough. Like most people paying 500 and something dollars for rent is unheard of.
Right. Yeah. But
So,
also I also kind of feel like the like you aren't in the same like money bracket as I am, obviously. And a lot of my friends that are in the same type money bracket, they've found apartments that are or houses that they share with people that are like $500, $600. And people that make more money than I do could never afford a payment of $1,000 a month. So, and also I think it should be noted that sometimes I have no idea where the money comes from. Like I'm partly convinced that like I somebody's just like shoving money in there when it needs to go in. Like yeah. So like it's a big old mystery sometimes. So
I just ran a quick obviously I'm chat GPT in here. The one thing
right.
I asked earlier was what is the average balance of a retirement account for a 34-year-old in the US? It said 2024 average retirement savings for individual under 35 in the US is approximately 49,000. Because I think you mentioned something around 40 something. So I was
I'm average.
curious. Curious. Um, And then the thing I just asked was, what is the average rent cost in America? It says, as of December 2024, average rent for an apartment in the U.S. is approximately 1748 per month, with an average apartment size of 900 square feet.
Yeah, but like
Obviously, it's gonna, you know,
yeah.
include these heavy cost areas, but
Yeah.
I mean, it is
Well,
the
yeah.
average. So I feel like hearing some people couldn't, like rent in Indiana is way different than rent
Oh, for
in
sure.
some of
Yeah,
these
and
other
if you're
places.
sharing a house with somebody, you could get a house for probably $1,400 and share it, and you're at 700 each. But
Yeah.
like, I guess what I'm saying is that even two people that make a bunch of money, or not even a bunch of money, but like make more money than I do, like say somebody's making $30,000 a year or 35, even to them, I like if they think that $700 is out of their budget and I've been paying above that for years, above the average of what like my peers can pay.
hmm
And so and yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I'm so out of the realm of paying apartment rent. I think I remember when we had our apartment right after getting married in 2015. We had an apartment for 1 year in Dayton, Kentucky, right outside Cincinnati, and I think we paid $900 a month.
Yeah.
And it was a two-bedroom, pretty big. I don't 900 square feet sounds smaller than what we had. So it was a pretty good size space. And that's the last context I had for rent.
Yeah,
So that
and
was
that
nearly 10 years
apartment,
ago.
yeah, and that apartment now is $2,100 a month.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you know, I have
Yeah.
no scope of what realistic apartment costs are now. And I suspect it's also you're kind of if you've been in a place for a while, you're not paying these huge prices, but it doesn't mean your rent's not going up a little bit. And
Yeah. And I
yeah,
mean, like, I spend a lot of money on Prime. Like, I spend a lot of money on Amazon. Me and Amazon are buds,
I mean
you know?
that's the deal, the convenience and the
Yeah. And I mean, like, I know sometimes I spend things and I'm like, why am I comfortable doing this? Like, I should not be comfortable doing this. But I guess I'm just not buying other stuff. Like, I'm
I
cheap
have
in
no idea.
certain
I mean,
ways. I don't know.
it's a
Like,
little I mean, it's a little shit that adds up and I mean, I suspect if a lot of us thought of am I going to like appreciate this thing in 3 months or if you're kind of going for like I need this now and the urgency and like I need it for a specific thing and then you're like I don't really need this anymore and you just it only cost me
yeah.
$12 so it's just like out the window and it's done.
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, like, I spend money out a lot because I'm traveling a lot. And so I just don't feel like stopping and making food. And I actually feel like I spend more money at a grocery store than I do when I like eat
And is that
Chipotle.
because you're trying new things or is it you're shopping hungry so you're getting more stuff than you probably would get
Yeah, I guess
if
it's just
you're
like,
budgeting?
well, I think it's just because it feels big because you're like spending $100,
That stuff's
like,
also gone up too. I mean, I don't grocery shop
yeah,
these days. Rachel's been doing it for the last couple of years. So like I'm also another thing that I'm kind of oblivious to what actually things are
yeah.
costing these days with groceries, but um
Yeah, I honestly like I feel like grocery budgets are super sacred to people. Like,
yeah, they expect I'm going to go once a week and this is what I'm going to get and this is about how much it's going to cost. I'm going to rinse and
no,
repeat and this
I mean,
is if
yes,
it goes up significantly, you're going to notice it.
they do expect that, but like I've tried to ask people like how much money they spend on groceries,
Oh.
to get how much money do you actually spend on groceries? And nobody will tell me. Like
Oh, why do you think
it's
that
like
is?
they're embarrassed about how much food they eat, and I'm like, I don't care how much food you eat. I think it's great, you know? But yeah, like they're like, we spend way too much. I'm like, but what is that? I
Yeah,
need
what
to
is
know
way too
how
much to
much
you?
is
Is
way too
that,
much.
and also if it's a family of like four people, that
Right,
budget is got to be outrageous. Like I don't know how
right.
much it costs for a family
And
of four.
like
It's got to be like $300, I suspect. I don't know.
each each time, no, no, no.
Like every
A
week?
family, no,
Like
a family of four is probably like $1,300 a month.
that's
Like
what I just said,
it's
300 bucks a week.
I guess that's true, yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah,
about
I mean,
yeah.
like, it's got to be insane, like, especially if you have like teenage boys. Oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of food that they consume is insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know
I don't know
that,
how we
like,
got on all that, but
yeah, I
the
don't
but
either.
I mean honestly, but talking about budgeting like this is also you should be aware of how much you're spending in your business on a regular basis too. So like
Yeah.
I
Oh, I also
suspect not
wanted,
spending frivolously is a smart move. It's not that like
yeah,
obviously I'm gonna come from like I'm a cheap ass like I use things until they die. So like I'm not gonna buy new things all the time, but if it's essential and I'm gonna use it, like I'm gonna buy it when I need it, but I'm not gonna like splurge on things that I'm like, maybe I'll try this and that and this and that.
Yeah, I think that, well, yeah, and like having the studio and like spending all that money on all those different things like really taught me what I actually needed and what I didn't. But I also have to mention that like I said, I've been extremely blessed. Not only have I gotten, I mean, like, yeah, I spent $500 on a slab roller this year, but that's like the biggest and almost only expense I've spent this whole year. I probably spent maybe $400 on clay and supplies the entire time I was in Utah. I
That's pretty good, honestly.
I s- I got I received a wheel from Speedball for free
Hmm.
last year, and I received a kiln for free this year, and I
I
sold
mean,
the kiln.
we've invested to get to that point that
Oh
we
yeah,
can.
I mean like obviously I've worked for it in certain regards, obviously, and I
I mean, could our ads have been as good and sold as many people on the kilns
no,
if we didn't have the kiln ourselves?
no, and like I'm not saying I didn't deserve those things for what I got them for. I feel like I did, um,
But those would be
but
big expense items for most
But those are
folks.
huge expense items, and I probably wouldn't be able to have made as much stuff if I had had like the old Scut, the firebox, because it's
Hmm.
half the size. So I've been able to make a lot more stuff in the one that I have now,
Hmm.
so in the plug and fire. So like there's been a lot of things that have like happened and yeah, I'll tell you what, my Costco membership, I need to get rid of that. That is,
I suspect you probably don't have a lot of room to be buying things from Costco with the size of your fridge and other storage space limitations
yeah,
you
I
might
mean, I
have.
don't spend a lot of money there, but like,
Do you get gas there when you're over there? I mean, I suspect that's a
yeah,
good selling point.
yeah, I get gas and like, I got that cool vacuum thing that I got.
Yeah, Rachel's used that a couple times. I'm curious how long it's gonna last. Or last until she's like, okay, this was a cool gimmick, but like it's not as useful as I thought it would be, kind of thing. I feel like
Well, for me, it's my only vacuum, so it will last forever.
yeah, that's true.
But, but like, yeah, certain things that I've like bought at Costco that I'm like, did I really need that? No. I spent a lot of money this year on animals, which has really sucked.
Yeah.
And people have thankfully helped me out with that a little bit too. Um, but hopefully that's past me. So yeah, I don't know. As far as living on that little, also I will say this, and I I hesitate to say this on the podcast, but I think it needs to be said. Um, there's always those like ads or like memes or something that's saying like it's not Gen Z, it's whatever, like it's not the coffee, it's like the rent or whatever, how much you're making. And I think that being the person that I am and where I've been and done the things is that it actually is the coffee, but it's not the coffee and how you think it is. It's the coffee and the perspective that you're looking at it. So like being able to be like, I deserve a coffee. Like I don't say that. Do I say that about Blizzard sometimes? Yes. But that's like once a month. Right? I'm not saying I deserve a coffee every single day. I don't say that. And because I don't say that, I don't deserve certain things every day. Like that is kind of like a domino effect that I've had to squash. Like I don't need to do that every single day, or I don't need to buy this every single day. Um, or being like, Becca, do you actually have the money for this? Because you shouldn't like purchase this. And I think that like those memes kind of like bug me
That's kind of
because
like a treat yourself, like forget about the,
well, it's not, yeah,
or
I guess
it's
it's not a
like,
treat
or is it,
yourself. It's more like it's not that that's ruining, like that's making all of these kids poor. It's the rent, it's the groceries, it's this. And it's like, yeah, I mean it is that. But also as somebody that has lived on very, very, very little money. Now, to be fair, I have like had a whole life that had a lot of different twists and turns and swirls in it, so to get here, but I've never really had a ton of money and except for that one time that paid my debt off, and that was like something that a lot of people don't ever have, uh but yeah, like it's the outlook that you have on the money that makes it important, you know?
Well, yeah, every
So,
one of those decisions are more impactful.
yeah, it's like how
It's kind of
me
like
and
a dollar to you is different than, you know, a dollar to Amazon or a dollar to
right.
somebody that not even Amazon. I mean, that's an outrageous example, but I saw
Yeah.
something that was like a penny to Amazon is X amount of dollars per second or, whatever it is.
Yeah. But yeah, but it's like the little things, right? It's like the little things are the things that add up. So, yeah, if that radio that you want comes in red, yellow, and blue, and the yellow one is $30 than the blue one, get the fucking blue one. Like, who cares if you
$30
hate?
more expensive than the
Yeah,
blue
more
one. Is that what you
expensive
mean?
than the blue
Yeah.
one, get the blue one. Like, who cares that it's blue?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've never cared about the color of an item
Mm-hmm.
when buying it. Maybe once, and it
Yeah.
was
And
$2
then
more.
there's the flip side where it's, oh well, like we're looking at, getting a fridge down here for the bar. And it's like, do we want that one? Like the silver one is cheaper, but like the black one's gonna look better, even though it costs more. And she's like, Rachel's like, I like the black one. I'm like, yeah, like we can get the black one. Like it's fine.
Yeah. Like you have the ability and the luxury to do that because you make a certain amount of money and that's great. I
Hmm.
don't. I don't have that luxury, but I know it. And so it's never going to bother me. Like it's kind of like how I tell people not to like I'm like I don't have any walls in my van, you know? That's because I didn't want to spend another $300 to put wood that literally does nothing
It's just,
over
yeah, aesthetic. It's
styrofoam.
it's not gonna help
So,
insulate.
yeah, so like I make certain choices that are trashy choices. Like pretty white trashy choices because that's what I have to do. So, anyway, that was fun. Uh I think that was a really needed conversation though.
I
So,
mean, can you also I suspect you could somewhat put yourself in a frame of mind where if that income number was double or triple, like would you be in a different mindset? Would you spend differently? Would you like I'm curious um if that kind of thought process happens or if you think of, okay, what would I have to do to get to that number and what's worth it and what's not.
yeah. I think that like um I've thought about that a lot because you always think about that like when they always say the more money you make, the more money you have to spend, which I don't agree with, but I do feel like it's a lot easier to spend a lot of money when you make more. Like when I was working in Gravesco, I made a fair amount of money. I think I probably made like 40, like 40. And there was a time there that I wasn't really like doing pottery, so I wasn't spending a lot on pottery and I did spend some like extra money and I kind of had to be like, Becca, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing?
Like I
You
wouldn't
know?
have spent this, 6
Yeah.
months ago.
And so I think that it's an age thing and like a not maybe not age as much as experience thing. And if I hadn't experienced like making $48,000 when I worked at Sherwin-Williams and like spending all that money and then making and then going poor again and then making more money, like that
Hmm.
wave, that up down up, I don't think that I would be confident saying that like the next time I make that much money it's going into savings and I'm going to invest it all. Like I want to be able to have money in my account and look in my account and be like, yeah, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, sure, I'll probably spend a little bit more, but I'll probably still have a very strict budget
Yeah.
because I can't imagine myself spending like more than $3,000 a month, like including
Yeah, I think
a property.
Yeah, I suspect the momentum that you need to build is, at least the way that I look at it is, when you make more money, you don't adjust the things you're spending money on. You keep the same budget, but you just allocate that money to other areas that
Yeah.
you don't actually spend it. You like put in more savings, or you invest it in more, or you put more in the retirement, or you
Yeah.
put it somewhere else that you need that money, that it's going to help you in the longer term, so
Yeah.
that you're not just getting more accustomed to spending more and more money, because then
Yeah.
it's
And
like it's harder to go down in the money. Let's say you get laid off and then you got to cut your budget from 5,000 a month down to like 3,000 a month.
right.
Like that's a bigger jump than saying, okay, I'm already living on this. I've already been
Right.
saving this. Or maybe you say, I'm going to pay more toward my car payment or toward my mortgage
Right.
because I got more money in the bank, rather than I'm going to spend more. That's more fun money.
Yeah, like when I had an apartment, I was paying $1,300 a month for rent. And when I got the van and stopped paying for the apartment, I was paying $1,200 in a car payment. My car payment's $800. So I was paying $1,200, and only this last year did I move it down to 1,000. And and I've been like aggressively paying it off, like the whole snowball situation that what's his bucket says. And
Dave Ramsey, Snowball,
Dave Ramsey, the snowball.
the debt
Yeah, I think
snowball.
but I wouldn't have done that when I was like 22. I would have never done that. Like, I think that you have to have a little bit more perspective. It's like you gotta fuck up and then figure it out, unless you're Ryan Durbin. And then,
I just always have been cheap. And as the money
yeah.
keeps increasing, I just spend the same way. I
See,
mean,
I'm
I
not,
I
and
do
I'm not
spend on
cheap.
certain things, but it's kind of like you might as well spend some of it. Like I
Yeah.
get it. Like I could be totally content with not spending that money, but I'm also like,
Yeah.
hey, I can spend a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah. I see, I'm not cheap at all. My spending habits are my mom's. Like,
Hmm.
but the way that I compensate for that is that I only buy one thing that's expensive instead of like 12 things that are cheap. My dad is a 12 things that are cheap type of guy, and my mom's like one thing that's expensive. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Rachel's also changed some of that in me too, because obviously our house would not look like it looks if I was spending the money.
Yeah. I mean, like, and I don't go to thrift shops much anymore, but I used to. But I'm not walking out of thrift shops with a ton of shit. I'm going in there and I'm saying, okay, what do I need? Do they have any Calphalon pans? Do they have any of these utensils? Like, I want specific things that I
You
know
want
are expensive.
quality that
Yeah,
are like,
that I know are good quality. And I have an amazing collection of like pans and kitchen utensils that I've gotten on the cheap that's just sitting in my parents' garage because
hmm
I'm not getting rid of it.
yeah.
So, um, yeah,
But there's also experiences too. Like there's experiences of places that we've went that we wouldn't have pulled the trigger on if it was just me making that decision. Like Rachel
for
obviously
sure.
she has to kind of drag me a little bit to be like, okay, like we need to decide on this. We need to book this. We need to just do it. Like we said we
Yeah.
were going to do it. Let's just do it. Okay, it might take
And
me a little longer to get to that decision, but she
yeah,
got to
and
wear
she's
me
good
down a
for
little
you.
bit.
She's
So
good
it's
for you for that.
it's a positive. I get it. I'm holding on to that money as long as I possibly can, but eventually like it's got to be, you know,
Yeah.
something's got to be booked, or else we're not leaving, and we don't go on trips or spend money.
Yeah,
But
I mean, the more I travel, the more I spend for sure.
hmm
Like me being at the Beals this summer, I saved so much money by not going anywhere, just
hmm
like working and stuff. Yeah. And like if you're working so hard, you don't have the time to travel, you don't have the time to spend money. So,
yeah, that's true.
yeah. That's why I limit my trips to Walmart. I love that place. Walmart's got everything. I'm of
They
the
do.
opinion
Isn't
that
it the everything? Or wait, am I thinking Amazon? The everything store? That's
I don't know.
Do they
I
still
like
call it that?
Walmart. I like Walmart more than I like Target.
Why is
Yeah.
that?
I feel like you can find absolutely everything at Walmart. Now, Target has a better game section and their
Ooh,
like
they have some niche ones in there, right?
Yeah, and they've got like good cosmetics and stuff, but Walmart's got everything. So,
Oh my
and they got
gosh.
cheap cat litter, which is it,
Oh, they do?
yeah. Okay, we just spent the last like hour talking about like budgeting.
Yeah. And we didn't get into any of my stuff, but that's fine because I'm a
No,
little
we
more.
did. We talked about your
No,
finances.
I'm talking about the all of the stuff you just talked about.
Oh
But
God.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we don't have to get into that. We'll just keep it short and sweet. I make more than six figures plus in my regular job, and pottery I'm pushing six figures, so like I live pretty comfortably. Obviously, I'm very privileged. I don't even have to go to Walmart. I don't have to go to the grocery store. Like Rachel doesn't like I don't know what stuff is. So like
Yeah, but you also live well below your means. Like
yeah.
well. And they spend most of their money on traveling, which I think is exactly what you want to be spending your money on. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
traveling experiences and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So,
Yeah. So,
that's
yeah.
kind of how we work.
I think that in this particular situation, people can learn more from my experiences of being poor than your experiences of being weller off for this particular budgeting extravaganza.
Hmm. Well, I mean, the only thing I'm curious about is like if someone asked me,
Hmm.
why do you push yourself to make so much? Like, why do you push yourself to work so hard and make so much money when you don't need it? I don't know how I would answer that. I would just say it's like in my blood, like in my veins. Like I just want to do it. I want to challenge myself to do that stuff. Maybe it's because I live a pretty life of not a ton of challenge in the
Yeah.
grand scheme of things, and that's what challenges me is to push myself. So that's kind
Yeah.
of how I think I would answer that.
Yeah. And I think from my observation of you, it's like you, I don't think like you could make $40,000. Like you and Rachel could make 60K and live comfortably. You just by the way that you spend your money, right? Like together, you could make that. And I think that due to the fact that it really like it doesn't matter to you, like the money because you're making well above that, you don't um it's a good thing. I'm just trying to figure out how to say it. It's like you're not materialistic enough for the money is just a number to you. It's a number on a sheet of paper. It's not a I can buy this really cool car. It's it's more of an accomplishment as opposed to a lifestyle.
Like it's like style and status or something like that.
Yeah. So, like for you, you're like, I don't really care. Like I could have a bajillion dollars in the bank, but I'm still if I'm counting everything that I'm doing it every month, I still want to make a certain amount because that's the goal. You have goals as opposed
Hmm.
to you have like
As opposed to like it doesn't matter to me what it is. I'm kind of like I'm comparing it to last year. I want to push to like meet last
right.
year. I want to like try these
Yeah.
new shows or like I could be doing the same, you know, 7 shows a year and
Right.
just doing the same
You
old
don't
thing.
want to be like complacive. Complative?
Complacent.
Complacent. Complacent. You don't want to be complacent. You always want to push yourself harder. And like you said, it's like if this was a socialist society and got you made the exact same amount of money as your neighbor, you'd still want to do that. If the monetary value of making more pots was monopoly money, you'd still push yourself to make more.
Hmm. I agree with that.
I would not.
You wouldn't agree that I would push myself to make more?
No, I'm saying I would not do that.
Oh, okay. Okay. But like I always hear you on here say you're a unicorn, like people shouldn't expect that. And I always wonder like why not?
I think
maybe
they,
don't compare yourself one to one, but like
yeah,
why not say I am Ryan in 2017? I am Ryan at 2019. Like they're hearing this over the last 5 years. Like why can they not? Like we're not all at the exact same spot,
that's
but
true.
why can they not be realistic and say I could actually do that?
I think they could. I think that you can aspire to be a unicorn. I just think you're a unicorn. Like you're special. There's something special about you that you have like all the right components, you know? You're patient, you're driven, you're like financially available to do this. You're like you have, and I'm not saying that you haven't worked for that. You have. You've worked to make this happen. And like some people, the history isn't there for them to get there right now.
But should they strive for it?
Yeah, for sure. They should strive for it. I just don't think it's normal to be there. Like, I think that
Maybe don't strive for an exact thing, but strive to.
strive to
I think
be
it's like
more like
I,
it.
I think it's like a percentage game. It's like strive to be a little bit better,
Right.
little
Yeah.
by little by
But,
little by little by little. Like it's
right.
like a
But,
muscle. You're
like,
building a muscle. It's not.
so, right, exactly. So I think that when I say that, I want to make sure people realize that if they're in their first year, this isn't you.
Right. That's what
Like
I'm saying. That's
this,
Ryan in 2016, 2017. But also
right,
there were,
exactly.
not everybody has the same formula of
Dr-
had been doing pottery for X number of years before actually selling
Right,
anything.
exactly. And you're in a very particular situation where, um, and I know I know that you would work just as hard if this was like your only money making opportunity, but you're in like a pretty lovely situation where this is your side gig, right? Like you don't have to do it. So it's
Hmm.
all like for you to just fucking do it. Like you just want to do it, right? And
Hmm.
so the stress of like maybe having a bad show or maybe like doing certain things isn't necessarily as elevated for you that it would be for somebody who's like in their second year of pottery, they've quit their job, they need to like make this
Why would they have,
work.
wouldn't it
Well,
resonate with people that wouldn't quit their job?
well,
That
I
they
want to,
wouldn't have made that choice, or well, I guess I mean obviously you're compared to way different situations, so like it
yeah,
will,
so
some
like,
people would take away from I quit my job and this is where I'm at versus,
right.
oh, I'm
And
gonna keep
like,
riding this.
yeah, and like, but if they like quit their job and they had a show and they made $2,000 and they're like, why didn't I make $6,000? You know, like
Hmm.
you're only year two, like you're still going, but you can't like. I think that anybody looking at you can see that you have the work ethic to make it to 6,000, like to make it to 10,000, to make it to whatever, like just because you're so consistent and so driven. And like I know for me, consistency is really hard for me, right? Like we all know that. Everybody in the whole
Hmm.
world knows that consistency is difficult for me. And so I have to figure out my own way to do it, but I don't want to be discouraged in the process thinking that I should be where you are in 7 years, right? Like I don't want to be like, well, Ryan got $6,000 at this show when he had done it for 5 years. Why am I not there? Like, I'm always going to have a different outcome than you will, just
Hmm.
because my booth might be different. Like, your booth has been the same for fucking 25 years. Like,
Hmm.
there's, and so, and you're fine with that. But some people literally cannot handle having the same thing over and over.
Yeah. They're like, I
And,
need to redo my entire booth next year. And I'm like,
right.
you can't keep up with doing that every single year. But I'm also
Yeah.
like, that's fun for them and that makes it challenging. That's why I'm
That
like,
makes it fun. Yeah.
yeah,
Like that's what challenges them. And for
that's what makes them
you,
wanting to go back to the show. I'm like, I want to like work on the margins here. I want to be like, is there a product that I can reorganize in the booth to get a little more
right.
attention? that maybe is a better helps improve the sales by 5 or 10%.
Right. And like you're like the perfect entrepreneur. Like if you had invented some weird fucking product, you would have been a millionaire by now. Like there's no question in my mind, you know?
Yeah, I'm like small
Be
variable adjustments to see
right.
what impacts and what works.
Right. And I don't know, sometimes I don't know if you know that you're special in that regard. There's very few people that have the kind of dedication and the kind of like drive that you have. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't strive for that, but your attainability of it is unmatched.
I
So,
suspect it's a big mental drain on other people have more of a mental drain on a daily basis of other things that they can't focus on the things that I spend my time focusing on and the analytics I dig into and the things that I care
right,
about and want to push a little bit better. Folks
right.
don't have the energy to do that.
Yeah, and like you're lucky enough to have gotten into pottery in college so that like the people that maybe have that analytical drive are the same people that have been told you're not creative, so you can't do this. And so they didn't realize that they could do something. They just maybe couldn't do it the same way that the super creative people could have done. And then like you're doing something that most people would be like, I can't do that. I'm not creative at all.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not necessarily creative. You're you've just found the system that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people wouldn't even try that. So you're like breaching, you're making, is the left brain the creative brain or the right brain? I don't know. Let's say the left brain is. You're making the left brain work for the right brain. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, their left and their right fight. And I think that that's where you have like an upper hand.
Right brain is the creativity
Okay,
side.
so you're making the right brain work for the left brain. So
I
that's
also, yeah, there's probably a little bit of you know, the work that I do on a like full-time basis is probably also challenging me to do creative problem solving as well. That's
right.
very analytical based and
Mm-hmm.
there's more math and science involved there. And that muscle is working.
Constantly going. Yeah,
And then
like
it makes it easier when I have to do that kind of data analysis and stuff for my pottery
exactly.
business because it's like, oh, I get to actually apply that stuff, but for the things I care about most, like the pottery
Yeah,
stuff and the analytics and colors and all that. And then I also get to hand into making the decisions what I actually want to do with that data.
right.
So,
Yeah. So, yeah, there's like a few people that I feel like are like you in that regard. One of them being Jess, um, in Louisville.
mm,
And
yeah, I always like talking to Jess.
she's very successful at shows. She does great.
Hmm.
And I think that that's why, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, sometimes we forget that. I think that sometimes I forget, and I'm sure a lot of people forget that going to shows and doing pottery, like selling pottery stuff, is a business. And we got into it for the pottery. And, you know, and the business comes second, and to you, the business comes first. And that's why your business is successful. And that's why it'll last because it comes first.
Yeah, I suspect a lot of folks would not be making the same things year after year after year after year. And you're like, okay, I made, 1,500 shot glasses. It's like, no, what? I'm never making
Right.
shot glasses again. It's like, no, I'm gonna bump that up. I'm gonna make 1,700 next time. They keep selling, like,
Right.
why not?
Yeah. So,
Or,
and I like,
change the price a little
yeah,
bit or whatever.
yeah, just like it. And that's why I say you're a unicorn because you are. Unicorns are good.
I just need to like get a perspective of like how realistic is that? Like, I don't know. It just feels too fantastical to me that whenever you say that, I'm like, but I don't like think so. But it's also, I don't know.
Well, you don't
I mean,
think
I
so
understand
because
what you're
you're
saying,
you.
but
Yeah, because you're you. And and you know, some things that I often forget is that we surround ourselves with people that can match ourselves, you know? Like I'm a unicorn too, just a different way, right? I'm like, as Isaac says, Becca, if you would just apply yourself, you'd be great. Um, no, I mean, like, I'm a unicorn too. I'm just a different type of unicorn. I've never struggled learning new things ever in my life, you know? And, uh, like, hands-on new things, I've never struggled. And I have an incredible ability for visual learning. So, but it also like I also don't apply myself the same way you do, you know? So I think, but anyway, I think that we surround ourselves in people that remind ourselves of ourselves, right? Like
Yeah.
you would not be my friend if you didn't think I wasn't intelligent, if you thought I was an idiot, blah blah blah, right? And like if you do have friends that are maybe not on the same intellect level as you, then it's a little bit more apparent of where you are, you know, in a certain like in your intellect and in your drive and so on and so forth. Like
Hmm.
Andrew, like stationary Andrew, he's completely driven, he's super intelligent, but he's not like book smart, you know? Like he'll figure it out as he goes. And
Hmm.
but like the reason that we match as friends, even though we have such a huge age difference, is because we have that both going for us, you know, or we did at the time, um, had that both going for us. And same with you and me. And, but I don't think you would ever, like, you're not a unicorn to the people that you're friends with. You're just like
If
them
right.
in different ways. But to people that are,
And there's a and it, but it also feels so niche that, if you talk to like family about different things, it's like this whole world that I'm so used to,
right.
this you and I are, we know all this stuff. Obviously, we talk every week, so like we're very
Yeah.
invested. We're very aware of each other's lives. If you talk to family or somebody that you see once every month or once every few months, their
Right.
world is completely different. Like the
Yeah.
small, we vibe more with small business owners because we kind of get that life.
Exactly.
And it's just like, to me, I'm just whatever, I'm just
Right.
whoever I am around them. But, we don't get into those discussions and that all that talking because it's completely foreign. So maybe that's some of the humbleness too of like, I don't feel like a unicorn because I'm just, you
Surrounded
know,
by the people that know the same things as you.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, it's very true. Like the biggest example of this is when I went to college and I went to a private Christian school that was like a poor private Christian school. So we're not talking like 30 grand a year. We're talking like 3 grand a year.
Mhm.
Um, and I, um, but regardless of that, every single person in my school I felt was like super, super intelligent. I was 8 in my class, and like everybody above me were men, like all guys, and they all went to like amazing schools and all that crap. Okay. And when I went to college, I went to a state school in California, and I had to take like some math class because it didn't like line up or something like that. And we got to the math class, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this is the easiest shit I've ever seen.
Mhm.
Like,
It's
and
like
I'm
being
like,
at a college prep school and then you go to college and you're like, what? This is what you should have learned in junior year of high
right.
school or whatever.
And you're like, oh my God, like I didn't realize that I was at this level and everybody else my age going to public schools were at this level. You know, you don't realize you're that privileged until you're not real you can't
Yeah.
real like you don't realize you're privileged until you've met somebody that's not, you know?
Hmm.
And you actually like see that and experience it, and maybe you become less privileged in a certain area. or whatever.
Hmm.
But so yeah, I mean like you can't really like a unicorn doesn't think they're special around all the other unicorns. Like they think their stripe is a little less dull than Susie's. Like, you know.
Hmm.
So I'm sorry that I call you unicorn. I'll
No,
stop.
it's
I'm
fine. I
gonna
mean,
start
obviously you're saying it in a positive light. It's hard for me to comprehend it when you say it
I'm gonna start calling
because
you a honey badger.
because it feels like it puts me on a plateau, and I don't like that light kind of.
I
I
know.
mean, obviously Rachel kind of does it. Like when we're around stuff and like Rachel like be saying positive things, like bragging on me a little bit. I'm like, no, like I don't want that.
Yeah.
So it feels a little
Well,
not maybe
Rachel's
not undeserved, but it's also like it just makes me uncomfortable.
yeah, it feels weird. Rachel's a 20 out of 10, so I mean, like
There you go. She loves that.
she is a 20 out of 10. She's
She is.
probably a 30 out of 10. Rachel's the fucking bomb diggity. Got nothing wrong with Rachel.
Concur. Do you want to I feel like we went so many different things here. There was a question somebody asked that was, what is the most successful new thing you tried this year? And I had one that I thought of. I'll give you a second to think about yours.
Okay, thanks.
The one that I came up with, obviously I could talk about soda firing and all that stuff, but I think as in new thing, Michiana Pottery Tour, selling in the Michiana Pottery Tour, I think was something that really, I did have to kind of decide if I wanted to do it or not. Obviously, it was a, invite from Trevor. So it was like, I feel like I can't pass this up. It's so unique of a experience to sell at a show that's all potters, clay folks, people know what's going on. It's a honor to be in that group, to be included and be there. And then I had to just the reason I was iffy about it was because I did another sale that I've been doing the last few years in Indiana, and usually it's a good sale. Like I think, 4 grand or whatever sales, and I'm like, it's kind of one of those sticking points where I'm like, do I decide on the take the risk of doing the fun business, more on the camaraderie side of things versus the risk of it not being a good, sales.
Yeah.
So it ended up being great sales as well as, a good trip to like see folks and,
Hmm.
you know, uh, see how that went. Because like a lot of times I don't like I'm honest that I don't think my work stacks up with a lot of those types of artists that are invited to shows like that.
Hmm.
I'm like an everyday potter. Like I'm for the everyday person that's buying pottery.
Right.
I'm not the artsy side. I'm not super fancy with my work. I mean, it is good quality, but it's not something that I creatively think.
Yeah, it's basic bitch. Basic
Yeah,
bitch pie.
it's not the same caliber, in my opinion, to a lot of the folks that get invited to these kind of things.
Right.
So I think that was probably the one that stood out to me as the most successful new thing I tried.
Mm, yeah. I've got mine. The most successful new thing I've tried, or the funnest, both, was doing the miniatures, the little
Mm.
mini things. I really enjoyed that. That was like a lot. And it continues to be a lot of fun,
Do you
you
know
know?
when you started those? It feels
Probably
like it's not
that
been that long, but
it hasn't been that long.
I don't
Probably in
really
like
know when it started.
I want to
I feel like it's been
say,
like 3 or 4 months, but it's probably been longer than it feels than that.
yeah, remember I came to your house? Oh, when was your tiki party?
August, I think.
August. Because remember, I made like a whole big bowl of them that
Mm,
trip. So that was when I started, August.
okay, it's not been that long.
Yeah,
And you kind of got a little system going as well. You figured
yeah,
out, you made like a slip cast mold for some.
yeah, for the mugs. And I'll probably start selling them again. But I have like a whole list of little things that I want to do and like make, and so I can consistently like sell them. Like the trees, the snowmen, I want to do like I talked to Rachel about doing hearts that were like hollow hearts that were rounded, and I want to do candy hearts. I think those would be cute.
Mm,
And
that's a good
oh
idea.
my God, there's this like tiny, tiny, tiny stamping clay tool that I want to get for the candy hearts. That's like a letter tool, and it's for miniatures. Oh, it's so cool. And yeah, and so there's like a lot of things that I want to do with that, and I kind of lost all that oomph, and I need to get it back. I need to get back to that, but yeah. So that was probably the best thing. That was the funnest thing. And like doing all the charms at the coffee festival was like a freaking blast for me. It was so
Hmm.
great. I just love people being stoked about that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, they
yeah.
had some customization, and they obviously you weren't out a lot of money to get that stuff. I mean,
I
the
spent
pieces
like
that you made, you
$400 on
did.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I made my money back though, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the stuff was kind of expensive, but yeah, it was so much fun.
But you gave them an experience. They got to shop, they got to
Hmm.
pick through. You made the bracelets or necklaces for them.
Yeah.
Like they had so many options to figure out. And it was just, yeah, it was a whole experience for
What about the soda kiln? I mean, like, I don't feel like we can really skip this part without talking about the soda kiln.
them. Yeah, I mean, August of 2023 is when we did the workshop at Isaac's, and that was my first. Well, no, that's not true. The October before that, I did go to Trevor's for 5 days or 4 days, I think.
Mm-hmm.
October of 2022, and that was just for fun. Hey, like, can I come visit you? And I'll make some work, and we can put it. Like, I want to see what soda firing is all about. I'd never done soda firing. Went to
Yeah.
Trevor's. He had me for 4 or 5 days. Took some Bisqueware up there, fired it or glazed it, loaded it, fired it. Got to work in his studio, make some stuff. Took some stuff home in the damp box, and then going to Isaac's for the workshop. Like that was a long trek. I probably wouldn't have done it if it obviously going out there myself would have been a big undertaking because you're driving 14 hours out there. But you know, Megan Yarnell was willing to go and Tony Young were willing to go, so we kind of like buddied up and coordinated, and
Yeah.
then we all took the trek out there. So, that was kind of the start. And obviously I got to, I knew some about Kevin and Isaac a little bit, but got, those friendships grew and the appreciation for the process and's like I think I could do this too. It doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't seem as foreign and complex as I thought it would be. And then building the actual kiln here in February of 2024, it yeah, it it all happened. Had a number of folks come help. Brian Wilkerson was here. Josh Heim was here. We had another 4 or 5 people that were here for it to build it, and yeah,
And let's not forget the love affair that you and Isaac have had this whole year.
it sparked from the work the workshop.
Let's not forget that if Isaac wasn't married to Karina, he would be gay for you.
Rachel loves that too
It's so fucking funny. It's like,
because he's
and
listening to this right now.
yeah, we know. Fuck you, Isaac. Um, love you. And then he just stopped calling me because he found a new love. No, I'm
He
kidding.
calls me every now and then. Usually I'm like, why the fuck are you calling me? For the
I
most
love
part,
it.
I'll answer, but yeah,
I
most
love it when Isaac calls. It's one of the highlights of my day.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
But I would say
but
that was a start, and it just obviously I'm still I don't know. It's hard to we'll see perspective wise where I'm at in like 3 to 4 years in relation to the soda. I feel like this is still so early,
yeah,
but I'm kind of seeing. the trajectory of where it's going to go with the teaching other folks about the process. Obviously, I still feel a little big for my britches. Is that what? I still
Yeah,
feel a little bit
little.
of that imposter syndrome with what,
Yeah,
telling people about this because I'm like, I'm just figuring this out. Like, I've only fired this thing like 6 or 8 times, but I feel like I know more than folks that aren't like familiar with this process that
yeah,
I can bring you in the circle. We can fire together. Like, I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll
yeah.
show you what the results are going to look like, and we'll figure it out together. Uh,
I think
and
the saying is, it's a little too big for my britches. Like the soda kiln is too big for my britches. Like you couldn't fit the soda kiln in your britches.
as
Uh,
I'm like, how
did
do
you
I
see
spell
my
britches? How do I spell britches is what I'm trying to figure out. Britches.
Did you
The
see
saying
that
is actually too big for your britches. It means someone is acting overly confident, arrogant, or self-important as if they are more capable or important than they really are.
Yeah, like one time in high school, this is the equivalent. I was like, "Your ego's so big it wouldn't even fit in this parking lot."
Mm,
That's the same time thing. But the soda kiln knowledge is too big for your britches.
mm-hmm. Says the phrase
Yeah,
comes from the idea of outgrowing one's pants or breeches, symbolizing
right.
someone getting ahead of themselves or behaving beyond their station. It's often used as a lighthearted way to remind someone to stay humble.
Yeah. Uh,
Whew.
oof.
So
I
that's
really
gonna definitely evolve in 2025. I suspect we're gonna be. I mean, lugging these damn kanks up and down the hill is gonna. I'm gonna get tired of that pretty quick, but we'll see where we end up. But I'm calling maybe 6 or 7 soda firing workshops. Maybe firing it another 12 to 15 times myself or with
I'm telling
somebody
you,
else.
you need to get a slide and or an escalator.
An escalator. That sounds
Mm-hmm.
like a good business expense.
Yeah.
And then I get to cool off and chill down in the hot tub at the rest and recovery.
Yeah.
Okay, we talked
Yeah.
about the most successful new thing this year. Was there something 2025 that you're looking forward to? It could be specifically
I think
business,
here's
it could be not.
I think we're already at like 3 hours almost. We're at like two and a
Oh,
half.
yeah, yeah. You
And
want to save that?
yeah, and it's midnight and a half for you. So I think that we should
Save that for
save it.
later. We'll let y'all think about that.
Yeah, and like we can talk about it Monday next. Nope, nope, no, we can't do that. We can
We'll
talk
talk
about
about
it
it soon.
after Christmas
Yeah.
or sometime. So,
We can also adjust when we do it because
because
I'll be
that can
off
be
work all
after,
week.
yeah, that can be after uh, the new year anyway. So, yeah.
All right. There's our 2024 recap.
All in all, a great year. I'm excited. I'm excited to get to 2025.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I feel like even though I made zero money this year, I've made a lot of healthy decisions. So, yeah, healthy mental decisions.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's so much put into like ending a year and starting a new year that I don't know. I feel like it's like same old thing. Like nothing.
Agree.
I'm like, well, why put so much stock in like I'm gonna start this thing? Like just
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're thinking about it now. Like what do I want to do? But
Well, I mean,
um
I'm literally separated by like coasts for my winters and my summers, so it does matter for me, but yeah. I mean, January is a great time for research and development because there's not as much selling unless you're doing wholesale, but
yeah. I don't know. I feel like with yeah, we can talk about this next time. We'll talk about
yeah.
that as we start the new year.
Hmm,
I
hmm,
had some
hmm.
thoughts.
Yeah, because this one got way away from us. So
I think
in
it's
a
good. I hope people
in a
will
good way, in a very good
enjoy
way.
it. Enjoy
Yeah.
the conversation that you might not hear elsewhere.
Yeah.
We shall see.
So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully neither of us stuck our foot in our mouth in this one.
I hope not.
Um,
I'm looking forward to all the folks that share those 2024 recaps. I will be sharing mine on Instagram soon. I already saw Sarah from Not Work Related. She shared hers today. I was like, damn, 2 weeks before the year's over. What are you doing?
I know. I don't think I'll be sharing mine. Um,
Yeah, well, you never did you share one in the past?
no.
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 Yeah, I mean, those infographics are not easy to do. And then you start
There's
seeing
got to
other
be
people's and you're like, ooh, I like that idea. And I like that idea. I want to do,
there's got to
yeah.
be like some sort of an app you can use and plug in all your shit.
I mean, you could, but it wouldn't look as nice. I feel like you kind of have to massage it yourself and make it
Yeah.
so that you can kind of tell the story you want to tell.
Yeah, there's that.
Because obviously people like the bite size and can understand it and whatnot. But
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, sweet.
thanks everybody for listening. We will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I have to end it.
You have to stop it.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of Wheel Talk. This podcast is made possible through the contributions of all of our listeners who always ask us great questions, leave us reviews, and contact with us through social media. Thanks to all the fellow makers as well who take time to be interviewed and share about their lives and businesses.
And thank you to Ashley from Boldover Ceramics and Lindy from Lindy Garner Ceramics for their assistance on the Whale Talk Podcast Instagram. You are invaluable. Thank you to everybody.